Essentially, what I want to share with you here is how to come up with an endless stream of content ideas, angles for your ads, emails, content, etc. Hey guys, what's going on? Yesterday, I was having a conversation with Sue on our Offer Lab call, and it prompted me to do some thinking around this. Essentially, what I want to share with you here is how to come up with an endless stream of content ideas, angles for your ads, emails, content, etc. So again, this was prompted by Sue, one of our clients, and I think it's, so what I mentioned to her, so the challenge that she was dealing with, and this is a challenge that a lot of people have, not just Sue, is that sometimes it can be challenging to come up with new ideas, right? Not just for like Facebook ads, but for anything, right? Like, what do I create an email about, or, whatever. And obviously we have a lot of different prompts, if you will, to help you with that. If you are going through our nurture module, we have the social authority amplifier in there, which gives you tons of prompts for getting things started. So please refer to that. Very, very important, because what I mentioned to her was what I'll say here is that the most valuable use of your time is thinking and coming up with ideas. Okay. I will stand behind that until proven otherwise. And the reason I say that is because execution is fairly easy. It's easy to build a pipeline. Really, theoretically, right? So we build up the tech, your pages are done, funnel's live. Cool. So what's the difference between one funnel and another funnel, right? Same mechanics, same pages, same whatever. The difference is in the ideas behind them, the messaging, the words. And that's where I believe true genius lies. And genius is a skill. Okay, it's not something you necessarily are born with. I was useless at this stuff when I first started. So please understand that if you're on this journey and you're relatively new on this journey being learning how to think like a marketer, like a business owner, like someone who's trying to influence people to do things that are in their best interest. Again, it's a little bit of a new language if you've never done it before, right? The more you do it, the easier it gets. And so what I want to share with you is something that I've been thinking about that I think can really help you out. And before I share this, let me mention one more thing. I don't know if you've seen the show Mad Men. If you haven't, then watch it. It's amazing. But in that show, Don Draper is the main guy. Okay, so that's played by John Hamm, and he is an ad executive. So basically what he is he's the creative director at a large ad agency in New York in the 60s. But what's interesting is in watching the show, he's never the one necessarily, well, I shouldn't say never, but he's not necessarily the one writing typing out, because they had typewriters. He's not necessarily the one typing out the ads, the words themselves. He's the one who's lying on the couch, having a drink, doing whatever he's doing, and he's coming up with an idea. And that's where the highest value is it's the idea generation. Now, in your case, you don't have the luxury, in most cases, of having a huge copywriting team, right? Which is the way it's going to be for a while. Not that you need one. So what that means is not only do you have to come up with the ideas, you have to write them out. And there's no way around this, okay? This is not something you can delegate. In fact, the later you delegate this, the better off you're going to be. I mentioned this, and I've mentioned this several times, you cannot delegate your messaging. You can't. Actually, just as an example, so we just started working with a company for some Instagram growth we're going to do, and a big piece of the intake of the onboarding is everything about our messaging, right? Client avatar, messaging, like major deep dive. I was able to complete that in 1 hour. It would have taken me 1 year had I not spent the time to really think through what's our unique value proposition? How are we different in the marketplace? What are 3 things that characterize us? Like, this is stuff you have to master because this is you in your business. It's your brand. And that involves you thinking, hitting a wall, thinking, hitting another wall, getting a bit of a breakthrough, and actually putting pen to paper or fingers to keyboard to type stuff out. The only way you get better at this is by doing it. The best part, guys, you don't need to be doing this 12 hours a day. I'm talking the easiest way to improve your content, your ads, your emails, etc., is build the daily discipline of writing one per day. 30 minutes, whatever you want to give it. One ad, 30 minutes, time frame, or one quantity, and do it relentlessly. And I promise you, you do that, it's going to be the single best thing you do for your business, right? Once your pipeline's deployed, you've got more free time. Practice this skill. I'll share 2 quick stories with you about why this is important, and then I'm going to actually share with you the idea that I have here to help you come up with more ideas. So 2 friends of mine, so when I first started doing masterminds many, many years ago, story number 1, 19-year-old, he's a trainer in Toronto, worked in a kickboxing studio, 2nd floor of like random place. And he gets this whole taste of online marketing and, wants to build his business online. He comes out to one of our first masterminds and, got his feet wet, if you will, and got some great strategies to help his business grow. So 1 year later, this guy, we met up at a dinner or something, and he was kind of giving me an update on what's going on. And he's like, yeah, I just bought a penthouse downtown Toronto for cash. I was like, sorry, what? And I was like, sorry, cash, penthouse, Toronto, $2 million cash. And I'm thinking to myself, what the F just happened here? What did he just do? So lo and behold, what he did over the previous year was every single day he wrote copy, he studied it, he wrote it out, he wrote it out, he wrote it out. And to the point where it became so effective that he was able to pair his product with an amazing message that converted tens of thousands of customers. Okay, so that's story number 1. And this is a guy who's at the time 20 years old. 1 year, daily practice. Story number 2, I've probably shared this actually at the same mastermind. Another friend of mine was there. He was a bit older. He had been in the space for many, many years, he had been an author, done the speaking tour, been on TV, the whole circus act, right? Came online, focused on the wrong things, spent a lot of money building out a platform, software, website, like 6 figures that no one ever knew about because he didn't know how to drive traffic. And same thing. What he did is he started attending, he came to our masterminds, went to a couple other events, and he's also a friend of mine. And he's just like, I don't know how to do this stuff. And so what he started doing was writing copy every single day. Now, 2 years later, he goes from like 0 to more than 8 figures a year in business, and he's still crushing it. And he's a great guy. So the story here, guys, is that you don't have to be born with this. Nobody is. Even our copy coaches are amazing. They weren't born with copy skills. They developed it. They learned it. They practiced it every single day. And this is something you can't get around. You can hire a copywriter. You can hire someone to write. Kids are going crazy. You can hire someone to write your stuff. Are they going to do as good a job as you? Maybe, maybe not. But I strongly recommend that you master this, because the better you are at doing this, the better you're going to be able to sniff out nonsense and sniff out great people in the future. Okay. So that's a long preamble, but hopefully it really illustrates the importance of why this is so powerful. Now, let me share the technique that I want to share with you. Here's the cool thing. So I want you to, so I'm looking out at my window here, and I want you, let's use the example of weight loss. Okay. Just gonna grab a sip of my juice. Beet, carrot, celery, lemon, fermented lemongrass. Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, so I'm looking out my window and I'm thinking I have an offer around weight loss. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at a tree. Tree. How can that tree give me an idea for weight loss? Barking up the wrong tree. So barking up the wrong tree, weight loss, how do I bring those together? All right, so a lot of people try to lose weight and maybe they've been barking up the wrong tree. They've been trying this and this and this and this, and it hasn't worked. So see what just happened there? I'm using free-form thinking to just create associations, to get like the prime the pump. So I'm thinking And again, your association for weight loss in a tree might be different. And that's the beautiful thing about this, right? We're just connecting the dots. So I look at a tree and that's the first thing that comes to mind. Okay, I'm looking outside again and I see a pool. Pool. Okay, let's talk about dipping your toe in the water versus plunging full in. So when it comes to losing weights, a lot of people are just kind of dipping their toe in the water, right? They're not really taking the full plunge because they're afraid that it may not work out like it did in the past or it didn't in the past. So therefore they're timid. They're waiting for the water to just be right instead of diving full in and taking a bit of a chance, right? So all I'm doing here is I'm looking at random objects in my environment and I'm using associations to get the wheels turning. Let's look at another example. Chair. I'm looking at a chair outside. Okay. Did you know that one of the predictors of longevity is your ability to go from a seated position to a standing position? This is called the sit to stand test, I believe. I remember it back from like Asian class, whatever. So if I were writing an ad about weight loss, so I might go like this. Most people don't understand that the ability to go from a seated position to a standing position is one of the most important things that will determine how long you live. Now that becomes a lot more challenging if you're 50 pounds overweight. Wouldn't you agree? Right? So all I'm doing here is I'm looking at physical objects in my environment and I'm using those to stimulate associations and connecting the dots. So it sounds rudimentary, very elementary, very basic, and that's how it should be, okay? When idea generation is all about connecting dots, because here's the thing, guys, you are connected to collective consciousness, right? Everything you need to know is already within you. And all we're trying to do here is we're trying to connect the dots to open up more doors in your mind, right? You don't need to, go on some 30-day retreats and live in the mountains and meditate for 5 years. If you want to, go for it. But everything you need is already within you and it's already around you. And this exercise is an example of how you can tap into that. And then based on your knowledge and experience, you can start connecting those dots. So anyways, I hope you find that helpful. There's no excuse not to come up with great ideas between the production prompts we have in the Social Authority Amplifier for the ideas we've given you here, the hooks and lead angles we have for the ads. You just have to do it, guys. There's no way around this. There's no way around this. It's like, let's say if my kids go to school down the road, they have to walk to school. Like, worst case scenario, they take their bike. Worst case scenario, they drive. Like, there's no way around that. If you want to get to school, you have to physically get there. And it's the same thing with this. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you like about this in the comments below. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.